Welcome to the Career Mosaic, where we explore the journeys of transformation, passion, and unexpected career paths. I'm your host, Mandeep Singh Pachar, founder of MindScan Education. Joining me today is Sunil Pachar, an IT industry veteran turned sustainability pioneer. After 15 years in corporate IT, Sunil embraced his passion for ecological living, launching EcoLiv, an ESG consulting firm which transforms organizations into ecologically conscious and happy organizations. From Project Water to nationwide water harvesting initiatives with ICICI Foundation, GrowHey, and more. Sunil's work shows us that passion can redefine any career. Today we'll hear how he made this leap, the skills that transferred across fields, and critical advice for students. Join me as we dive into Sunil's story of grit, purpose, and ecological impact. Welcome, Sunil. So I want to talk about your journey. You started your career in IT, and I think that's what your education also was. And now you've pivoted, you've switched to sustainability, environment, something which is extremely critical. And uski baat karenge a little later, but I want to start with the education. In your opinion, what role has your formal education played in your earlier career and what you're doing now?
Thanks, Mandeep, for inviting me here. To be very honest, I'll go back even to the school. So
Okay.
I don't know whether you know, I have come from a boarding school.
Right.
And in a boarding school, I was trained and conditioned to probably aim for defense. I
Okay.
have studied from a Sainik school. So I was aspiring to be a defense person.
Awesome.
And fortunately, it didn't happen. And my dad was also in defense, so I wanted to be there. While doing graduation, I was in 90s and computers was a new word. So I got fascinated with what is this computer. So I went into a master's in computer application after my science graduation,
Okay.
physics, chemistry, math. And while I was in second year, third year, I found computers to be too good to true. And I said, and I was lucky. So I was at the right time with the right degree at the right moment, because if you see, Indian IT industry started picking up from early 90s.
Correct. Bilkul theek hai.
Infosys, TCS, all those. And I was there with a degree at that point of time. And luckily, I was finding it very interesting.
Okay.
But answering to your question, the traits I would say right from my school age is your hard work, your common sense, your commitment to whatever you are doing at that point of time. While I was in school, while I was in computers, I was doing very well. Today, if I'm doing in sustainability, the traits are the same.
Right.
Go back to the root, whatever you are doing. Understand the subject and give your 100% to that. Whether it is computers, whether it is sustainability, whether it is a sportsman. Doesn't matter really.
True.
And that call would come from either a right mentor. I would say honestly it will come from inside, but many
Very
times it's
true.
not very easy to say what is coming from inside.
Bilkul.
And I would say you face it more often with a teenager. You say, hey, what is your inside call? And he will say, what is this inside? I don't understand what is this inside.
Very true.
Only when you go back, and today I can say that, okay, at a 50 plus age, you can say, oh, there is a conscious call, there is an inside call. But at different point of times, we have different thought process, different conditioning. But irrespective of whatever it is, your commitment and hard work is the route which will probably help you get into that kind of sector. So I, luckily, coming from that kind of a school background, you're very disciplined to the cause, to the commitment, to the timelines. Whichever we have to do, we will do it.
Correct.
And then we luckily went with the IT and did well there also. And now when I went into sustainability, I said, I have to do this. So the day when my commitment was, I have to do this. And thereafter, you start reworking your strategies or policies, whatever you want to call them.
Correct.
But the crux I would name is your commitment and hard work to the cause.
Very aptly put, Sunil. And जब हम भी बच्चों के साथ बात करते हैं, and I think it's important to put this in context. आजकल सोशल मीडिया में ना चिल्ड्रन सी पीपल जो लगता है कि यार ये इतने आसानी से दे आर डूइंग वेल और दे आर सो पॉपुलर. एंड आई थिंक समवेयर द इम्पोर्टेंस ऑफ डिसिप्लिन जो आपने कहा, द इम्पोर्टेंस ऑफ रिगर, यार ये काम शुरू किया है तो खत्म करना है. वी सी एज करियर काउंसलर्स व्हेन वी इंटरेक्ट विद स्टूडेंट्स, दैट सीम्स टू बी लॉस्ट. पीपल, children unfortunately assume कि यार सब कुछ आसानी से हो जाएगा. And I'm so glad that you really brought this out, Sunil. Obstacles आएंगे, but you have to be able to overcome them. So when you transitioned, जब आपने अपनी job छोड़ी, and though you mentioned, and again that's a very important aspect, आपने कहा you were at the right place, right education, you enjoyed it also.
Yeah.
तो ऐसा नहीं, there's no tragedy story behind it. You were enjoying it, you were at the right place. Still, what made you shift, and what was going on in your mind when you took this decision, Sunil?
Well, Mandeep, to be very honest, there are 3 or 4 aspects in this particular scenario. One, when I was in IT, at certain point, I think all of us gets our urge that I need to do things the way I want to. So
Very true.
the corporate was not too interesting. So 2011, by then I think I was with 18, 17 years of IT experience. I said I want to do my own venture. So I get into a IT venture
Okay.
with a friend of mine. So we were doing IT venture for 5 years. Somewhere around 2013-14, I got inclined towards yoga and
Okay.
started reading a lot of spiritual masters autobiography and some literature around the indigenous way of life, which I would say yoga is also indigenous way of life. And then there
Correct.
are books, and those masters, whosoever I was reading, they were also influenced by yoga at an underlying stage. In about 1 year of time, my consciousness got started shifting, and I started getting irritations from inside that why are we wasting so much, what is happening,
Okay.
why are we wasting so much water. And luckily internet was there, so I started reading. So that's where I said there are 2 sides of every coin, which is a very popular phrase. I use social media very, very well in those days to understand that are there solutions for these problems.
Okay.
So that's the place. Otherwise, if I have to go back to a college and a university to understand water and waste or sustainability, whatever, I don't think it would have been possible. But I had a technology edge because I come from the sector, and then I studied from internet, and I reached out if there is X problem, there must be a solution in any part of the world. Is this happening? How it is happening? And then I started incorporating them in my way of life. Like say, I started with home composting. I said, whatever is going from my kitchen, I'm eating half of it. The rest of it is also edible.
Correct.
But
It's
is there a
getting
way?
wasted.
I mean, it's just creating landfills across the cities. So I started doing home composting. And then gradually I just said, oh, how much water we are wasting and all that. And trust me, like any student, I have also studied social science and all those school, and maybe it was taught to us what is water, what is rainwater harvesting, what is sustainability. I had no clue what it was in my school days or college days. And when the day I started thinking that I need to find solution for it, I found it and I understood it very well, easily, and then I started incorporating. And then one fine day I just said, yeah, the problem is too big, and I need to start working in this space as a solution provider, because
Okay.
so many people are talking problems. Yes, air quality is bad, water is bad, all water logging is happening. Somebody has to come out with a solution that
Correct.
there is a solution available. This is how you can do it. Why not me? And luckily, I was part of that IT industry for quite long. So I had a cushion at my hand that I have enough money, and I'm at that part of my life where I don't really have too many expenses, or I don't aspire to spend too much. So I had that cushion. So I said, why not make my sustainability as a career? But the crux is it came from inside. And then I had factors supporting me to take the leap. And by God's grace, I'm doing well maybe in 7 years. That's when I go back and tell nowadays schools, colleges that there are enough opportunities in this space, provided you give your 100%.
Absolutely. And that's something I want to touch upon. Careers in sustainability or in environment. So let's just go back now. The UN has these sustainable development goals, and each one of them talks about the importance of certain aspects of our environment. And the kind of body that the UN is, the kind of publicity it has garnered, or the kind of awareness it has created, so absolutely right. There are so many opportunities for youngsters today to look at that as a career. So if I could ask you to share your experiences, जो एक 16-17 साल का बच्चा ये सुन रहा है हमारी बात and is perhaps passionate about the environment or doing something, but is apprehensive, उसको डर लग रहा है कि यार can I make my living from this? So could you share some experiences? Could you give us an idea about how do companies look at this kind of a thing? Are they willing to pay pay money to experts like yourself, to entrepreneurs like you? थोड़ा उसके बारे में बताइए हमें.
Well, Mandeep, it's too good a question, and I'll try to do justice in the way I can. Paradigm shift I want to bring in your viewers or whosoever is listening is sustainability is now cutting across everything.
Okay.
We need to start. So I'll start giving an example. Suppose you are a fashion label.
Right.
You are making clothing. Where does the sustainability come? The brand says, when I source my material,
Okay.
they want to trace it back to which was the farmer who grew it. What is the quantum of water which was used? Can I trace it back? Whether it's suppose it's organic cotton, can I trace it back right up to the early days?
Understood.
And then suppose you have sourced it. Now you have a designer. The industry today is demanding that while you are creating a product, be wise about the material use. So
Okay.
there is a keyword used in the industry which is called as material wise. While you are doing a product, be material wise.
Wise. Okay.
Which material to use, how much to use, and once the product goes end of life, what do you do with that?
Oh, so it doesn't stop with कि जी मेरा काम खत्म हो गया.
Exactly. So if you see globally, Europe is probably, I would say, 15 years ahead of us in India. India, I would say we are still behind. But Europe has mandated frameworks like EPR. It says extended producer responsibility.
Okay.
The responsibility of a producer doesn't end at production. If I am a car manufacturer or a two-wheeler manufacturer, I manufactured it. So while I was manufacturing, I have to be wise about all the material, everything.
Okay.
When I have shipped it to the customer, after end of life, what would happen of that product? So I need to be careful that I might have to buy it back.
Okay.
So I'm a manufacturer of a good. I sold it to you. You used it for X number of years. After X number of years, there should be a provision that you come back to me and sell that produce for X residual value.
Fair enough.
Because I know what has gone inside into it.
Yes.
Many times it's a black box, many times half of the thing. So if it's a car, there is a 5% plastic, 10% metal, XYZ. And as a car manufacturer, I can recycle everything back and make the new car out of it.
Wow.
So
EPR.
Extended producer responsibility. For a generic layman, there is a keyword nowadays you might have often heard called as circular economy.
Right.
That the good has to continue to be in circulation. Maybe the form change, but you cannot say fill it, forget it. That make it once and then put it to landfill. That era is gone. Europe is kind of mandating for the company. Maybe India and developing countries would also feel it after a few years. Some glimpse of it has already started coming in India. So that's where I said, now I come back to the question. So you can't say sustainability means, oh, you go and do plantation, you do awareness, you just say that did rainwater harvesting. It is touching every aspect from the day you conceive a product. If tomorrow there is a FMCG company and they say, hey, we are making some chips and biscuits and something, what packaging you are using becomes very important. 50 years back, nobody was thinking on those lines. But now the world is changing. So they are conscious of how much packaging material I use. What kind of material? If I don't know whether you know, nowadays I think there are prototypes which are successful wherein they are making packaging out of seaweed.
Correct.
So you get a biscuit packet packed in seaweed. You eat the biscuit also and you eat the packaging also. So for a manufacturer, there is no cost of pulling the packaging back. And it is not causing them. So I would say, if I look at a canvas of 100, globally we are at about 4 or 5 in as far as talking at sustainability at an early stage, inception stage.
Okay.
But this would increase with every passing year because the world is going to mandate it at different stages. Now you could be a designer, but you have to be aware. You could be a technology guy.
Correct.
But you have to design a software or a data matrix which says, hey, I know I must source this material from there. I have a geotagging of that particular location. Then while I was manufacturing, I have the entire video while it was made. When we shipped it, there is a QR code which goes into the product labeling which says, hey, this much composition of this material is. And when I have to pull it back, I can trace it where that product is actually there and it has been 10 years and the life of the product is over, so I need to arrange for logistics to pull it back. So in the whole spectrum, if you see, a technology guy can fit in, a designer can fit in, a marketing guy can, a sales guy can fit, everything. But they have to have sustainability at the back of the mind. It's so finely ingrained into the entire product life cycle.
So this particular answer, Sunil, honestly has me excited as a career counselor.
Yeah.
And आपने जो अभी end में बोला that every industry, whether it's a designer of clothes, infrastructure, technology, उन सब के लिए ज़रूरी है. So there are so many avenues then for children to learn about these things, to become experts, and then add value back to this. So you interact with school and colleges. That's something we've spoken about. And I know that one of the things you talk about a lot is water and water harvesting. So tell us about your experience. जब आप स्कूल कॉलेज में बच्चों के साथ बात करते हैं, what is their response? Is it just कि यार someone has come, he's talking, or do you feel that they understand the challenge, the opportunity, and then they want to interact with you more, they want to ask you more questions? What has your experience been?
To be very honest with you, Mandeep, if I often hear people say that a young child is very curious.
Correct.
And I have seen that across all my sessions. So whenever I go into any sessions, I see innumerable number of questions from, and that is denoting the curiosity of a mind.
Correct.
The sad part is, so now a background, why I went into this session is, I said, I also went into a high school and a middle school and all kind of things, but I didn't know about water, and luckily now it's mostly common sense.
Correct.
Why don't we go and tell? And I go with the intention that if I tell thousands, maybe hundreds or tens will pick something out of it, and some point, either now or 10 years later, 20 years, maybe it helps.
Correct.
So I really don't go with a straight, what is in for me. I really go with a very long call that, okay, I need to tell what I have learned at a later point to the kids. When I go to schools, I find these middle schools are exciting with curiosity. They have so many questions. They would ask, hey, can I do? Now, one of the simple things when I go and tell them is, hey, do you know we are using double the national water average of water? Let's say an individual is supposed to use 130 liters per person per day. That's the national building by code. When I go to schools and kids and tell them what are we using in cities, it's almost double, about 200. And then they say, and then I said, do you think the cause why it is happening? All the answers comes from them.
Comes from them.
Somebody says shower, somebody says X, or different kind of thing. So the idea is to give a task to them. I am not going there with preaching that, hey, you do this, you do these 10 things and your job is done.
Correct.
I only go to trigger that curiosity and thought process around sustainability, and the end result is, can you start doing something from today when you go back home or in your schools? And I have often seen they do wonderful jobs.
Lovely. So let me now bring two things together. जो आपने कहा सुनील, that brings out something that MindScan that we always say. Education happens even outside the classroom, and sessions like yours prove that. Let's take it a step further. In your organization, is there a way? Because kids reach out to us all the time, and we talk about community, we talk about the impact you can have on the environment. One parent actually said, Mandeep ji, आप इतना हमें बोल रहे हैं कि बच्चे के फ्यूचर का प्लान करो. जिस रेट पे दुनिया जा रही है जी, फ्यूचर होगा भी हमारे बच्चों का. You know, was just talking about deforestation and all that. And while we laughed about it at that point of time, it is important. So is there a way, Sunil, wherein students can take guidance from you, reach out to you, students who are keen to work in this, contribute in this? Is there some way they can do that so they start taking baby steps? And when they actually start their career, जो आपने कहा ना, एक sustainability का mindset उनमें ingrain हो चुका होगा, and then of course career wise opportunities open up, but benefit of the larger good is there.
Yeah, I'm always open. That's why I say when I go into session, I'll give you, many of the schools, I give them a task that you create your own workforce, and your school is the laboratory, or institution for that matter.
Right.
Make a team of say 10 kids, and they will say, hey, now we will improve the water balance of our institutions, or maybe the waste balance of my institution. Today, if you see, everybody knows we need to do, but I just said, put things in quantifiable manner, in a tangible manner. How much water the school is using today every day? Do you know?
Do you know?
First, there's 10 or X number of kids form a team and say, hey, now start collecting. And then we say, can we start improving the water balance? Let's say how much rainwater you are getting and how much you are consuming. What is the gap today? Let's work on improving the water balance. And kids do remarkably. They all know Excel, they know the data, only the school and the team needs to put things in place that, okay, today maybe the borewell doesn't have a meter. So you might have to install a meter.
Correct.
Rainwater harvesting data is not measuring, you start measuring a meter. And then you put things in place, and it's a real task which is put in place, and there are commendable results wherever kids works. So I'm open for all the kids. I often tell, do something which you can demonstrate and you can talk about it. Don't do things for photo op.
Very true.
Whether you want to grow even one plant, start from point one when you accumulated the soil, put the seed, let it grow, and after 12 months, you will have a different experience.
Understood. Awesome. So, एक चीज और बताइए, when you interact with students, so while you've spoken about the positive part, children are curious, आप उन्हें कोई task देते हैं, they follow it through, and you see encouraging results. There must also be students or teachers whom you interact with who may have certain mindset block, a certain misconception about, yaar, can I make this a career? So anything of that which you want to share and clear a misconception?
See, to be honest, the reality is today, as I said, the first and foremost, I would say the sector in India in sustainability is as of now thought of that it is only something to do in the environment. So one has to start thinking broad. It's not that. Then secondly, if you start looking only in that environment space, the reality is salaries are very less. So any teenager or young would want to earn more.
True.
But as I said, if suppose you want to be a techie and you want to work in sustainability. So imagine a scenario today, I mean, not a right example for India, but like Singapore, Japan, those where there is water is very scarce. What they've done is they have smart meters installed in their houses, and there is an app. So you took a shower, came to office, and you know how much water I've used. And it's payable. It's not like India.
Correct.
So somebody implemented that with a IoT framework that, okay, a smart water meter with a SIM inside. No, the technology are there, but use case has been thought of by somebody and show it in the app. Same can go for energy, same can go for waste, same can go for air quality. Today, you're sitting in, and if there is a technology available in the room and they say the AQI is this, and it's changing everywhere.
Correct.
So the solutions are coming in. So you have to start thinking in those lines. Sustainability is not a career in the corner where you're doing plantation and you're doing sweeping the road. Now, that's not sustainability.
That's not sustainability.
Sustainability is end to end.
Sunil, there's one term we speak about a lot. It's called ESG, impact.
Yeah.
So tell us a little more about it, and what really can a young student do to firstly understand ये क्या है, और जब वो समझेगा तभी वो उसके बारे में कुछ कर पाएगा.
Yeah. So Mandeep, it's a great question. I often, and particularly from an Indian context, when people don't really understand ESG, I'll try to answer it in a very layman's term.
Awesome.
So essentially my company is a ESG consulting company.
Okay.
Why? So if you understand, now we have 150 years of corporate history. I mean, businesses started doing something in the early 20th century. When you initially started with business, what matters is, are you making profit? Nobody cared what do you do. Are you making profit?
Bilkul.
So tobacco, or be it liquor or automobile, anything doesn't matter. Then at a certain point, it came that if you are making profit, but how well you are governing the organization.
Okay.
So governance became a catchphrase in the early 18th, 19th. So if you look at from an Indian context, Infosys or Mindtree or some of the Indian IT companies or L&T, they are considered pioneers as far as governance is concerned. Okay. So in those days, it only mattered whether you have a good governance, who is there on the board.
Correct.
A stage came later, probably 15, 20 years. If you see, there are 3 or 4 instances. There was a BP oil spill.
Yeah.
huge amount of oil spilled on the ocean, and that caused huge damage to the aquatic life and everything. But it caused huge damage to BP also. BP lost its pole position. Then if you remember, there was a Volkswagen fiasco in US where they lied about emission norms.
Emission, yes.
Before that, Volkswagen was there at pole position for about 5, 7 or 10 years.
Correct.
They lost it and they are never ever probably going to gain it. Now Toyota is number one for last 10 years or so.
Correct.
Then Johnson talcum powder. If you see different scenarios, Europe started thinking that governance is not really enough. You have right set of people. There is Mandeep, there is Sunil, there is somebody. There are 10 people on the board. But still these fiascos are happening.
Correct.
So they coin a word that not only governance is important, ESG. It's a combination of 3. E stands for environment, S stands for social, G stands for governance.
Okay.
When in totality taken as ESG, we are hopeful that corporates would not have any risk like the ones we discussed, BP and everything.
Right.
So you have to be profitable, you have to have good governance, but you are making sure that you're doing something for the society, you're doing something for the environment. So had there been an environment part in the tick box of, say, Volkswagen, they would have never lied about emission.
Correct.
So Europe has coined this about an early 21st century ESG parameters for a corporate to publish every quarter.
Okay.
Which means, suppose if you're in manufacturing, how much water you're using per product per day, something, or how much your employees commuting per day, how much air quality or how much pollution you're releasing. So there are different parameters for different sectors.
Understood.
Europe has mandated, and now they have a 10-year history that whosoever is a ESG compliant company, they are outsmarting all others. So the CAGR of ESG is far than any other sectors. So there are specific ESG funds which will say we will invest only in this company. India, as I said, we are 10 years probably, but last year we have picked up some portion out of it and we call it BSRB, Business Sustainability Reporting.
Okay.
So today they have mandated only for top 1,000 companies of the sector. But as I said, going forward, you can assume that all listed companies will be mandated to publish a BSRB every quarter, same like your financial results, which means they will have to tell it how much raw material we used or how much water we used, or reports would keep on evolving. Now, I go back to your question where you said careers for. Now this ESG and BSRB will itself open maybe millions of jobs for people.
Absolutely.
There's a data scientist who has to make sure that he publishes the ESG reports and make dashboards also in a presentable manner for the audience.
Correct.
So he's a data scientist, but his focus now is to make it presentable. So similarly, you are in a corporate, you are a CFO, you have to make sure you are reporting your BSRB, which means he needs to now know how much water we have consumed, say in last quarter. Has it increased or has it decreased? Revenue might need to go up quarter on quarter, water might need to go down quarter on quarter. That has to be on a single page of a CFO. So even though you're a finance guy, you need to know that part also.
So what I'm hearing is, and if I'm a parent or a teenager, Sunil, that this conversation has started over the last 20-30 years. आपने 2-3 बार बोला, Europe seems to have taken the lead in this. But because they've put in set, clear, measurable manner, clear, measurable things to do, it is catching on. And the opportunities for the youngsters are immense. So आज I know youngsters are more scared कि जी AI आएगा तो job जाएगी. Perhaps what they don't realize is with all this information and with technology, these are the kind of sectors that are going to create more avenues and they just need to be open about those. So इसी सिलसिले में I want to go back to the school and college seminars you have. So you talk to them about this. Do students and maybe more college students, do they come and ask you कि सर ये सब करेंगे तो सही, but सर हमें तो जॉब की टेंशन हो रही है, तो सर हम इस सब का करें क्या? Do you get an opportunity to talk about these careers with students?
Yeah, so to be very honest, for specifically graduates and MBA and BTech, I do a session called as Why Not Envirepreneur, wherein I go in some part of the glimpse you have seen at this convention, when I just tell them that this is the quantum of opportunity if you wish to become an entrepreneur. In the first place, I'm saying you just aim to be an entrepreneur.
Correct.
And then maybe pick a sector in environmental. And everything can be connected. But the reality is you have to be committed to the cause.
True.
Be any sector. So entrepreneurship, and many of them find it so exciting that yes, when I tell them there are X billion opportunities, then
their eyes
see.
open up.
But the reality is, if you see, you know better than me, that entrepreneurship is maybe in India picked by 1%.
True.
Out of that 1%, I am saying 1% will pick up environment as a space. So, in order to grow the space or opportunities, in the first place, there has to be more effort from their side. More people have to pick up entrepreneurship.
Understood.
And more people then have to aim for. So, they are equally responsible if the sector is not growing.
Understood.
I mean, you probably might see in Delhi and Gurgaon, there are landfills.
Correct.
And we all talk about it.
Yes.
Now, there has to be 5, 10, 50 people who say, I will fix it. It is a mammoth task, but it is not.
It's not unsurmountable. Someone has to start.
Somebody has to start.
And the ideas are there. आप कह रहे हो, children are curious. It's just कि अगर आप और मेरे जैसे लोग भी end up explaining to them, there is lots of.
We are only the catalyst. We are only telling. If somebody would have told me 20 years back, maybe I would have a product also in sustainability. But
correct.
So if the child today has a problem statement, she has to work hard, find a solution which is doable, and then just replicate it. Opportunities are there.
Opportunities are there. So, quick wrap up, and then I'm going to come to maybe a final set of questions, Sunil. So, one, you're saying understanding has evolved. There are metrics in place, and as a result, there are opportunities in place. A lot of things are mandated now. So, जैसे हमने कहा ESG है, India में you said it is
BSRB. BS Sustainability Reporting.
Business Sustainability Reporting. So, obviously, these are things that are going to create avenues, and children they have the correct software in their brains to make use of this. So, tell me, if today a school or college student, or even a professional like me, young professional like me, wants to get involved with your initiatives and wants to say, okay, let me start learning more about how I can make a difference. How is that possible? How can someone join you, work towards this, learn, and then maybe go back and make a larger impact?
So again, in my personal behavior, I'm an optimist. And I'm just saying the quantum of problem in India is so huge that I need probably 10 lakh competitors of mine. So I'm not afraid of competitors. If the quantum space I see in water, at a macro level, India is letting go the 85% of the rainwater back to the ocean.
Wow.
85% goes back to the ocean.
So that is wasted.
Yeah, wasted. So now I, as an individual or EcoLiv, might be able to maybe augment 1% more. Who will do that 84% more? The opportunity is that 84%.
Correct.
There are landfills in all cities. Somebody has to fix it. Now, I can't go and fix in every city if I have. So the solutions have to be, the opportunity is too big. I am coming back to your question. I say, how? I said, you want to come with me, learn the space? I'm available. You want to collaborate with me that I'm doing in water, you have something in waste? I'm okay. You just want to join me and do awareness session, because till now, maybe I have covered 400, 500 sessions for different schools. But there are thousands of schools, you know the data. So I can't go do it in Chennai. You want to collaborate and learn from me. Whatever I know is open source. There is no intellectual property of mine, because I'm working for a cause to fix the environmental problem.
Right.
And trust me, we need more than 1 million people like me.
Wow.
They could be my competitor, but I am not afraid of competitor. I said the bigger cause is to fix the problem.
Fix the problem.
So anyway, I'm always open to collaborate in whichever capacity a student or a college or a faculty or a counselor like you wish to collaborate with me. Whatever I know is all yours.
Awesome. So I think through this podcast, whoever are the people hearing, if you're a school, you run an institution and you feel this is something we can talk to with your students, please do reach out to us on this. Last question, Sunil, and I'll go back to what we referred to earlier. You changed your career from IT to sustainability. Yes, you've educated us कि दो अलग चीजें नहीं हैं. Sustainability हर एक चीज में है. But the impression that people have is कि जी मेरे को 17-18 साल की उम्र में I have to decide what to do. But you managed to switch. Do you think it's all that difficult to switch? Or if you actually understand what your calling is, it is something that people should not be scared about? Because at MindScan as career counselors, we always tell them, don't be afraid of switching, but make sure you are learning, make sure your exposure is there. So आपका क्या experience है and what would you like to share on this?
If you go back, I would say keep your building blocks right. So
Okay.
why the word has come, when you make a building, the bricks have to be right, mortar has to be right, steel has to be right.
The foundation.
Rest, facade, you can keep changing every 5-7 years.
Yes.
With time, maybe earlier bricks was in there, now ACP, there are different, now glass in demand.
Correct.
So if your foundation is right, which is where a key role comes in from you and teachers, is that what is the foundation? You should have a rigor, you should do hard work, you should be open to learning. I mean, a very important phrase which I say is URL.
Okay.
URL, I come from a technology. So URL originally was a website, but I said you have to be open to. U means learn, R is relearn, and L is learn.
Wow.
So I have relearned everything what was taught to me in high school or a middle school. Maybe it was taught, but I have picked it again all by internet.
Correct.
Whatever maybe wrong was learned or taught, I need to relearn. So this just not difficult, but your foundations of them. And one has to stop thinking that the career is for long term. And you and my generation, I mean, go back.
Correct.
Your parent and mine had only one career.
Yep.
You and me, on an average, have 2
We've
to 3
shifted,
careers.
Yes.
The younger generation, I said, you will have at least 5 to 7 careers. Every 5 years or 10 years, you will say, hey, I'm bored out of it. And the phenomenon nowadays, Gen Z say they get bored out in hours. So who knows, maybe they will have probably 20 careers.
Correct.
You were a guitar player at some point, then you were a painter, then you could be a sustainability guy, then you could be a product designer, then you could be a travel blogger. And many times you could be doing simultaneously.
Simultaneously also, yes.
So, but what is important is the same standard building blocks: hard work, commitment, common sense,
clarity of purpose, everything.
that has to be there. And if you are not changing, you are not learning. You have to contradict yourself after 10 years.
You have to challenge yourself, contradict yourself. You have to learn as you go along. Thank you so much, Sunil. On that note, I want to end this conversation. But of course, as I mentioned, this is a much longer discussion. Thank you so much for your time. The clarity with which you've spoken about the need for sustainability. First, you helped us understand what sustainability is. It's not a narrow focus. And what has really come out, and as a career counselor, and I know my team back at MindScan would be so excited to hear about the fact that the career opportunities for youngsters in this field of sustainability, which spans every industry, are just immense. Thank you so much for your time, Sunil, and it was a pleasure having you with us on the Career Mosaic.
Thanks, Mandeep. It was my pleasure to be here with you and had a wide range of conversations around. Thank you so much. Wish you all the best for all what you're doing.
Thank you, Sunil, for sharing your inspiring journey from IT corporate life to leading the sustainability revolution with EcoLiv and Project Water. Your story challenges us all, students especially, to embrace flexibility, pursue passion over rigid plans, and recognize that skills travel across domains. You highlighted the career opportunities in the sustainability space. And for those inspired to make a difference, I encourage you to check out www.ecoliv.in and consider joining the awareness sessions or conservation projects that they run. Thank you for listening to the Career Mosaic. Subscribe, share with someone who needs to hear this, and stay tuned for more stories of transformation and possibility. Until next time, dare to pivot toward what lights you up.